where you rehearse your topic, speak for 5 to 7 to 10 minutes. This is an impromptu speech, so I've given DeWanna 5 different topics. She's going to tell me what I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to talk about it for 5 minutes.
Basketball training.
Basketball training. Basketball training is something that is near and dear to my heart. First of all, I'll start with a disclaimer. I did not play in the NBA. This is something, however, I did talk to elementary school kids about when I worked as an elementary school teacher back in the year 2001. This was a behavioral tactic. When kids were acting bad, as they do periodically, some of the other teachers would say, hey, if you don't want to get in trouble, if you want to go and play in the NBA like Mr. Massy did, my last name is Massy, you have to behave and listen and do what he says. So I can't even say it was a white lie, it was a big lie. It was not true at all. I did not play in the NBA. However, I played in high school, and I have done a lot of research, a lot of working with basketball trainers, and I have a 18-year-old son who just left out this morning to go to Augusta, Georgia to play in a basketball tournament. And he's got several Division I teams looking at him to give him a scholarship to play basketball. So I have a level of success, So first of all, for basketball training, let's say, for example, you have no idea what basketball is. Let's start. I don't want to assume. One thing about people that are training others outside of their area of expertise, if there's an individual who's trying to learn something new, sometimes we go into situations where we assume that people know the baseline. So I want to give you a baseline, which is also a term that's in basketball. So basketball is not the one where you kick the ball. There's no kicking in basketball. If you see it, it's a foul. This is the basketball where it has 2 hoops. There's different size courts. There's a 3-point line. There's a foul line. This is the one where you dribble the ball, pass it to someone else. They shoot the ball to get either 2 points or 3 points. If they get fouled, they get 1 point. Now, so with that baseline, this is basketball. Did you know that they are currently, the 3-point line, they call it the arc because it's shaped kind of like a U. It's further out. It can be anywhere from 21 feet from the rim to 22 feet away from the rim once you get up into the professional levels from this furthest point. But in the corners, they're not as far. So once you step out to a court, you see these guys who've been making these shots and they're like, oh, it's no big deal. I can walk out there, I can shoot a 3-pointer. Until you actually get out there and try to shoot the ball in, the distance is a lot further than what you think. But however, with several, I'm not gonna say several hours, a lot of sessions of training, technique, arch on the ball, follow through, release, all these different things can increase your chances of being a proficient long distance or 3-point shooter. Now, people have different specialties. One of the other things that some people get caught up in is, I want to be a 3-point shooter. I want to be a Steph Curry. I want to be a LeBron James, where you just run in there and dunk the basketball. You need to find your lane, okay? You need to find what you're good at. Some people, I'm gonna take Jam for example. Jam, to me, I think she'd be a great defensive player. I don't know if Jam has a background at all or not, but you'll hear sayings in sports. Basketball is no different. Offense gets the glory, which offense is the people who score the points, score the 2-pointers, the 3-pointers, they're doing the dunk shots. But defense wins the championships. So if you don't stop the other team from scoring, guess what? You can have a lot of points that you score individually. Your team could score a lot of points. But if you don't score more than the other team or stop them more than you're scoring, guess what? You lose the game. You might have had fun doing it, but you still lose the game. And winning just seems like it makes everything so much better, right? So defense, you cannot tackle in the sport. There's no kicking, there's no punching. Again, I don't want to assume. But you can stand in front of someone. You can use your hands. You can hand up. You can do a little bit of hand checking. You can touch a little bit, but not much. Appropriate touching, by the way. You can reach for the ball. You can slap the ball away from a defender. That's not a foul. If you slap the ball away, you can take it down, score a point. That's perfectly legal. You hit their arm or their leg or this or that. If the referee sees it, they can call a foul. You can't do that. You get 5 fouls, and then you're out of the game. You can no longer play basketball. Now, what I was talking about for staying in your lane. Me, for example, I love to shoot the ball. I love to try to score. I love to be a winner. I like watching. I came up during the Michael Jordan era, so I want to be like Michael Jordan. I didn't end up becoming Michael Jordan. That's a no. Count that. Or not. However, when it came into the high school basketball game, okay, confidence was lacking. So whether you're playing basketball or whether you're in the workplace here at AXA, whether you're doing anything outside, confidence is critical, okay? So on the playground, from someone else. So doing it wrong necessarily, it might not feel the greatest, and I hated missing shots, I hated committing fouls, but the things that I did right when I focused on those things, it helped me. So going back to basketball for a second, as you begin training, there's a ton of YouTube videos out. Kids, you'll see kids 5 and 6 years old dribbling between their legs, doing cones. Like, basketball is only growing. You know, sports in general is growing. So if you want to actually learn how to be a great defender, which I know you already are, Jam, but if you want to become an NBA level defender, there's tons of different skills training on YouTube, tons of different coaches. You can hire a personal one-on-one coach. I have a friend of mine who coaches my son. He gets paid to do basketball training. He has a gym in his house, and that's all he does is basketball training. And I knew him since he was in middle school playing basketball. So it's kind of cool to see that come full circle. But at the end of the day, basketball is a close love of mine, and I look forward to my son getting a scholarship and me not paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for him to play basketball. Thank you.